Hello, everyone. My name is Conrad on behalf of Camera Stuff. Thank you for joining tonight. It's yet another In the Limelight interview, and tonight we are joined by Thabang. So we're going to ask him a whole bunch of questions. If you're watching and if you have some of your own questions to ask, please do drop them in the comment section, and we'll tackle them as we go along. So allow me to introduce pro photographer Thabang. Hello, Thabang. How are you doing?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Yeah, actually, being called a pro, I've never been called a pro before. Don't necessarily consider myself a pro as yet, but I'll take that for now.
That's based on your images, you're certainly producing pro quality images.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Conrad.
That's a big pleasure. All right. So, first question I want to ask you is we already spoke about it off air, but you have quite an impressive setup going on. So, do you want to tell me what you have running there, the lighting, etc.? You
Oh,
may have some people watching thinking they want to start YouTube for their own. So, just in regards to your equipment, want to explain what you
yeah,
have
yeah.
there?
So videography is something that I'm trying to get into. So yeah, lighting. I do have a Godox what's it? It's an LED panel light. So it's
Mm-hmm.
500
Sure.
as my key light, and then I have my strip boxes, obviously. Then using modeling lamps, obviously, and then the blue and the pink is those tubes. So I just have one tube pink this side and then another tube blue this side. But it was those makeshift tubes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
yeah. And then my microphone, I took it from my brother, my little brother, because he plays Apex quite a lot, and so he uses this mic. So I just kind of jacked it from him last night. And then what else? What else? I'm on 5D Mark III. That
All
has
right, awesome.
been my workhorse for a very long time, even though I now only use it in studio.
All right.
And
So, if I
then
may ask, you have a little box hovering over you. So, I think that is the focus point that you're running at the moment. I don't know if you can see it from your side.
yeah, no, I can see it. I can see the focus, but
I don't know if you
um,
can just simply switch to manual focus. It may turn it off.
okay, yeah, manual focus. Let me see. Let me
All
quickly
right.
hold on 1 second.
No worries. So, while you're doing that, if you're watching, I see a bunch of people have joined us already, which is awesome news. Thank you for tuning in. All right. So, while Tabang is getting rid of that square, if you are watching, please do introduce yourself. Tell me your name and tell me where you're from so we can say hello to you. So your comments will pop up on the screen.
Just to save time, I've moved it to the corner.
No worries. I think that's a good plan, yes. All right, Tabang. So I think we're
Yes,
going to
yes,
jump
yes.
into our questions. So first question from our side. What inspired you to pursue photography as a career?
Um, I think I kind of enjoyed it the minute I had what you call a camera in my hand. Once I had it in my
Mm-hmm.
hand and I started shooting, because what happened is I was with my partner. We were going to a 21st birthday. She was the one shooting. Anyways, I didn't even think I would take up photography. But when we got there, she wasn't well, and she gave me the camera, put it on manual. I mean,
All
on
right.
auto. Yeah, with on body flash, and I just kept on shooting, and then I started enjoying myself from there. So what happens is we run a graphics designs company, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from there on, I started shooting products that we do and then send to people so that we can put them up on so that we can put them up on Facebook. So
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that. Yeah. So doing that kind of got me thinking. I actually enjoy doing this, and then I
Mm.
want to take it up professionally. So we started a company, but after that, it took me a while before I like kind of said, okay, fine, I'm tired of shooting products or whatever. I want to now start shooting people. And then I think from there I went to Vega so that I could try and understand the settings, how the camera settings work, because I would use YouTube, but I wasn't getting much. I went to
Mm.
Vega, and it was a quick like 4-week course. You only go there
Mm-hmm.
once a week, if I'm not wrong. The only thing that I would say I learned there was penning. So I'm quite good at penning. And then from that, I met up with Constance Sau.
Yeah.
She introduced me to some guys who stay around my hood, and they've been doing photography for a while. I didn't even know them. Like, it's literally 3 or 5 minutes drive from me. That's where I met
Okay.
them, and then that's when I went to them, and that's where I started learning a lot of stuff from there. Your settings and
Mm.
everything, the technical stuff. I'm still not good in terms of the technical side of things. I just want to shoot and edit. Speaking of edit, I
Mm.
actually before taking up photography, editing was my thing. But I
Sure.
didn't even know what I was doing actually. So what I would do is I would go on Facebook, check on my friends. Well, most of them, they don't know me, just on my friends list. If I see a nice picture there, then I would take it, put it into Photoshop, edit it,
Mm.
and then after doing that, I would send it back to them.
Mm.
I would post it and tag them just to surprise them, and then
All right.
most of them liked it. Most of them liked it, but yeah, looking back, when I look at what I used to do
Mm.
and what I know now, yeah, nah.
Well, it's an interesting start of your career. I had a similar start to mine as well. So I started off as a graphic designer. My
Hmm.
sister was the wedding photographer. So gradually I was invited to be a second shooter, but mostly to take photos of the decor and the non-people stuff. But yeah, very
Yeah.
similar in this aspects of starting off as a graphic designer, starting off with editing images. But yeah, the photography just kind of won my soul in the end.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's spoke to
Oh,
many
sorry, sorry,
photographers actually.
sorry. 1 second, 1 second.
No worries. Sorry, your audio is off. Sorry, your audio is off.
I put it off. I
No
was
worries.
talking. I was talking to my camera lady. She was in the camera. Keep on saying, "Look into the camera. Look into the camera." And then I'm losing focus.
Oh dear.
She- so now
Doing
I'm
two or
losing
three
focus.
things
So
at once. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. No. But yeah,
Yeah,
we
starting off
can
as a
we can
graphic designer.
continue.
No problem. Yeah, so starting off as a graphic designer, I spoke to many photographers that had a similar start to their careers as well. So it's quite interesting that we have aligned in that aspect. Okay, so in terms of photography, what equipment do you use, and how important do you think equipment is for photography?
In the beginning, I thought equipment was everything, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, depending on what you do and where you want to go with your photography. If you are a beginner, equipment is not everything. You can start small with anything and then grow from there. Once you know where you want to get at, then you can start going into cameras that would qualify for you to shoot maybe commercials if you want to
Mm.
shoot for billboards and stuff like that. But if you're just shooting for the fun of it as a hobby and just maybe studio for just to make money, equipment isn't really much. And then what I use, like I said, it's a 5D Mark III in studio. I always use my Nifty 50 when I'm in
Mm-hmm.
studio, unless if I want to try certain angles, different angles, then I would go with a 16 to 35 or 24-70. But those I hire them. I haven't bought
Mm-hmm.
them as yet. But in most occasions, I shoot with my 50, and then 70 to 70 to 200. I shoot with those at events
Mm.
and stuff like that, and 24 to 70, obviously. But now I use my EOS R for events. instead. The
Okay.
5D Mark III is for the studio.
I also remember starting out with the equipment side of photography. I always reminded myself that there is a 14-year-old out there with using cheaper equipment than what I have, a far lesser camera, and that person is taking far better photos than what I am. So I just realized that just keeping that mantra in mind, gear is not always sufficient. It's the person behind the camera, the brains behind the operation, in a manner of speaking, that produces the end results. I say equipment can help you out, practically speaking, here and there. But often as photographers, we get a little bit, what's the term? Gear acquisition syndrome. So we buy a lot of gear and we end up not using a lot of that gear. Yeah, so it's just something to be careful with. So I think you need to do the introspection as to what you do and what type of equipment is bespoke to you. What precisely will you need to do the images that you're doing. Yeah. So as I said, many people tend to buy a lot and they end up not using it.
Most definitely. Even with me, when I started, because I was on a 600D and well, obviously with an 18-55. So when I watched YouTube, everything that I watched would say you need a much better gear. So I was then I moved from 600D to 60D. I thought, yeah, now I'm the man. I thought I've arrived with with the 60D because I really didn't know much in terms of that. And then once I started meeting the other guys, and then they introduced me to more stuff, and that's when I knew it was like, yo, I'm still a very small fish in this in this ocean. I have not arrived at all.
Well, I think you have arrived, yeah. So I just want to show people the images that you have taken, or sent me, should I say. Just give people a bit of a preview as to what you're capable of. All right, so these are Thabang's images. We'll talk about them one by one. Yeah, so I think you are well on your way. You have arrived, Sir Thabang.
Yeah, you're right. Well on my way. I'll arrive very soon. Very soon.
Okay, so let's see who is watching. So Augustine, thank you for watching. So everybody else, I see we have a nice crowd going. So please do say hello, introduce yourself, tell me where you're from. If you have any questions, as always, do drop them in the comment section. All right, so we'll tackle those images one by one, but let's just get some other questions out of the way. So in terms of working with models and other creatives on a set, so specific questions I want to ask you: how do you help a model get the best out of herself or himself on the day? So obviously, may be the case that a model may be a little bit shy or maybe a little bit inexperienced. So from your side, how do you help models out?
Well, for me, it starts way before we start shooting, or even before we meet. I make sure that I talk with that person, whether it's by over phone, WhatsApp. Get the feel of what kind of a person he is, make them very comfortable with me. By the time we meet, it would be like we already know each other, so it makes life easy for them in that sense. And as soon as they get on the stage, the chemistry between me and her or him is already there, And then what I do with them, I try not to pose them. I want them to be themselves, because sometimes you pose a person and they're not comfortable and stuff like that. So I let them be themselves. So I'd say, okay, fine. Here's a starters. We're just warming up. I just, let's see what we can get from you. Just pose and whatever. And then once we start shooting, they start becoming comfortable. And I always talk to them while we are shooting, and praising them where need be. But you have to be careful how you praise them as well, depending on their personality. So it's very important to know a person that you're going to shoot before you even shoot them, so that you can understand how you're going to communicate with them. What is it that you can do with them? What is it you can't do with them? So it helps me quite a lot. But once they are on stage and I'm shooting, they tend to be more comfortable with me.
Yeah, that's very good advice. Just talking to a model and all the other creatives beforehand, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page and you settle expectations as well. So on a day, nobody is surprised as to what is happening. That often causes anxiety and stuff. But very good idea. Now, just talking to people beforehand, do you do mood boards or Pinterest or anything of that sort?
Not so much so into mood boards also, unless if someone comes and say, hey, here's my mood board, then we're going to work on that. But what I do, I just ask them to look for references of something that they want to shoot, so that I don't come with maybe my ideas, because they are the ones who came to me and say, hey, I want to shoot. So okay, show me what is it that you want to shoot, and then we'll work from that as a reference. So when we get into the studio, we start off looking at the reference. Okay, here's this person is posing like this. Let's go into this pose exactly as it is. And then from there off, and then I just tell them, okay, let's now flow, change your position slowly, and then I just fire. So in most occasions, just to get one shot, I can shoot about 20 pictures just to get one shot, sometimes even more, just to get one good shot. And that's
the way
how
to
it
go
is.
about it,
Yeah, I know some people don't like wasting their shutter account or something like that. So me, no, I'm trigger happy. I started off without natural light. I started with natural light. So as a natural light a person, you just fire. What I used to do, I noticed when I was shooting, some of my images with in focus, some of them were not, so I didn't know why. So the best way to get the right picture, keep firing, maybe take 10 shots, even if it's just one person standing in the same position, one of them will be perfect. So coming from that, that's how I became trigger happy. Even in studio, I'm pretty much almost like that, but I've brought it down a little bit.
Yeah, taking photos like Rambo uses a machine gun, which is a very trigger happy way to approach it. Yeah, it makes complete sense. It's often what you say about what you mentioned about poses looking unnatural, so you don't want it to be forced. So it's often the expressions and the body language in between the poses, but actually provide the magic shot. So you have to keep your finger on that button.
Most definitely, especially if you want to really get that sex appeal, because it seems as if some of them come for me for that. So I try and bring that out of maybe every client that wants that to come out of them, even if they don't want to. But I try and bring it out of them a little bit, and then let's see if they would like it. Most of them, once they see the pictures, they love them.
Ah, perfect. Okay, let's see what we have in the comments. So Warren Jordan. Hello, Warren.
Hey, Mr. Warren.
Great. Saying great photographer. Yeah, sharing my sentiments here as well. So Mr. Roman J.
That's my boy from Kronstadt.
All right, so you just went blank.
J. Roman, yeah. Who, me?
Hello, Jay. Yeah, so sorry, your screen went blank. I don't know if you have a timer on your camera.
Back on and off. Yeah, I probably switch back on and off.
No worries. I'll be doing comments here. So hello, Jay. Thank you for joining.
Yes, JB. I should be back.
Yep. Hello. Mr. Warren Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I'm saying I guess I have a timer on it. So, like I said, on the technical side of things, I'm not that good.
I have no worries about that. There's always a gremlin or two, so we're still soldiering on. All right, so Warren's continuing his sentiments. Great photographer and even greater human being. Oh, that's a very great compliment. Growing in leaps and bounds. Love your work.
Yeah, well, it had to be Warren. It had to be Warren. I had a great shoot with him in Kronstadt. So, yeah. He's one of the people that I enjoy his work. He also takes a nice sports photography. So yeah, keep going, Warren, with that. I'm watching you. You my competition, bro.
It's good to have that healthy competition, that fellowship. All right, so with Jay and Warren, I think I need to interview you guys sometime in the future as well. So I'll drop in your comment section sometime soon. All right, and Johnny Kalema. Lucified, Mr. Moalosi, my brother. Quite imagine, yeah.
That's my nickname with my boys back then. Yeah, they used to call me that, Lucified. Well, it comes from my surname, Moalosi. So he turned it into Lucified. Actually, they said Lucy Pearl first, but
Oh
I
gosh.
didn't like that. I was the only one without a nickname, and we already had another Thabang in the group. He had his nickname,
Mhm.
so they needed to find me one. Lucy Pearl was at first how it started, and then Johnny ended up with Lucified,
Yeah, you
which
know, in a good space with your brothers when you get the nicknames, eh?
yeah,
It's
most
not always the
definitely,
nickname you choose, yeah.
yeah. We're friends, but we're not just friends; we're family.
That's good. All right, so he continues on by saying, also first question from the audience. What brought about your love for photography? Never saw this coming.
Yeah, like I said, I also never saw it coming. I actually also used to accompany my friend to his photo shoots. Another one, Vaughn. We, but I would just carry his bags, and obviously he used to do events, and I would carry his bag and sit by the bar and drink. So that's what I used to go there for, just to have a few
Mhm.
drinks. And then he would always explain to me, you know what, I love shooting from this angle. I know people always shoot like this, but I always look for a different angle when I shoot. And then he would show me the pictures, But I thought I didn't grasp that until I had a camera in my hand, and then everything else started coming back. It's like, hey, you know what? I have a friend who said when they do this is what they do when they have a camera. So I used to try different angles, try even as a starter,
Mhm.
So I think it still happens even today. I still try different angles, and that comes
Mm.
from a friend of mine who used to be in photography but isn't anymore right now.
Yeah, you're never going to stop doing that, looking for different angles. That's just a constant in photography. But it's a good approach. All
Yeah, most
right.
there.
Mr. Praiselord Magiswa is asking, what is the best way of marketing yourself without using something like Facebook?
Woo. Without using Facebook, you can use Instagram.
I
Like
think in
the
spirit of the question, maybe not using
I know
digital
social.
platforms.
Yeah, I know. Um, it's a bit of a tough one. It hit me hard when both my Instagram and my Facebook account, I got locked out of them because someone hacked into my Facebook
Oh
account,
no.
and it's linked to my Instagram account. So Facebook kind of locked um, Instagram and Facebook at the very same time, and then I couldn't
Oh.
get it back in. So I'm starting fresh. I'm like a month in, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I'm still fresh. But back to his question, it's a tough one. If you really want to do it that way, what I would advise is depending on what you're going for. Let's say maybe you're going for corporate. So what you need to do, have your profile ready,
Mm.
and then send it to companies that you would want to work with.
Mhm.
Just call them and ask them if they have an internal photographer. If they don't have one, just say, okay, can you please put me on your database? So whenever you need a photographer, then you can call me. I'll be ready, and then you just send them your profile. That's one thing you can do in terms of on the corporate side of things. On the wedding side of things and events, most of that is word of mouth. You can't really market
Mm.
yourself without social media. So word of mouth plays a major role in terms of those events. Models, go to modeling agencies and request to shoot for them for free. And once they start loving your work, obviously, then they can invite you for paying gigs.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice. It's a very old-fashioned approach, but it's probably still the best approach, isn't it? It's meeting people
What
face to face and asking them, "Hey, do you need a photographer?" Yeah, going to places where photographers are required, and as you say, putting yourself or ensuring that you are on that database, and having that profile. I think that is step number one: having a good
is.
portfolio. So obviously, getting out there, shooting as much as possible, cultivating a proper looking. I know a lot of people use social media as their portfolio, but I think the old traditional way of having prints ready to show people on hand, that still works 100%.
Yeah, no, most definitely, most definitely. And it's very important to have a profile. And it has to be neat. That's the thing. Maybe because I come from the graphic design side of things, it helps me when I send a profile because it looks professional. So in most occasions, when I send it, the first thing people say is like, "Yo, your profile looks professional," type of setup. So your pictures might get you a gig, but if it's not structured properly, they're not gonna go with you. Even if your pictures are not the best out there, but if your profile looks the part, they'll go with you.
Now, some other advice is 5 bespoke images for your target demographic. So if you're going to a wedding venue, having obviously 5 wedding photos in your portfolio, that's better as opposed to 1,000 random photos. So just do your portfolio in that sense as well. Just target or the demographic in question. If it's models, do models in your portfolio. If it's wedding photography, do wedding images in your portfolio. And as I said, 5 to 10 will do a better job as opposed to 1,000 random images.
Most definitely. I thought maybe that was my struggle. I thought because I have a corporate portfolio, I have a models portfolio, and I was like, oh man, maybe I'm just doing too much. Maybe I should have just one. So if you put it like that, then I guess I'm on the right track.
Now, you're not going to go with your steak recipes to a vegan convention. That's the basic gist of it.
Most definitely not. Especially with some of the pictures that I shoot, I can't send them to corporate. I might get in trouble. Or I might not get booked at all.
Now, that's for the other crowds, eh? All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, yeah. So what do you think is the most important element of a successful photo and why?
Facial expression for me of the model is the most important, and how comfortable the person is. That's the most important thing for me. Whether it's sharp or not that sharp, obviously it has to have an element of sharpness in it. But the most important thing for me is the subject itself. How comfortable that person is, whether on the facial expression and body wise. If the person is, maybe I can tell, or maybe that's the problem that I have. Maybe when I look at other pictures, when I look at the picture, I want to see that this person is very comfortable, and they were very comfortable with the person who was shooting them. So I look at other pictures and I see them. It's like, okay, this person is posing, but this person is not really. There's a lot of things I can do with that person, just make them a bit more comfortable. But yeah, for me, that's the most important element in a picture.
It's basic intuition and connection on a human front. When you have that, as I said, connection between what subject and audience, it's difficult to capture, but it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. You can't have a person looking bored or uncomfortable, as you said. That's often my first criticism when I look at images. It doesn't matter what the lighting looks like. If we're using a Hasselblad, whatever it may be, right? If there's just not that connection, it's just a bad photo by default.
Most definitely.
All right. So we have a question again from Praise Lord. What type of photography are you good at, and for how long? So I think, for how long have you been doing this particular category of photography?
Oh yeah, man. What type of photography am I good at? I'm just good at shooting. Right now, I would say studio, shooting a model. Yeah, those are pretty much what I enjoy the most. That's what I have become good at, because there's not a lot of elements that I have to deal with in the background, except for cleaning up the background. That's my only issue when it comes to shooting in studio. But yeah, just shooting models in studio is what I enjoy the most. But definitely birthdays. I don't like those, especially if you bring in balloons and stuff like that. Those, no, but my kind of shoot, it has to be something creative, not just stand there and just look good type of shoot. It has to be creative. We have cloths, then we play around with those cloths, type of setup. And yeah, I mean, we do go into a Pinterest or just on Google, just Google
Mhm.
ideas in terms of what you are shooting, and then we start from there and then just tweak it a little bit here and there. But sometimes you do wake up and have a vision about this is what I want to
Mm.
shoot, and then you shoot that. Some of the things happen while a studio and someone is standing there, and I'm like, oh, if I can take this and put it here, take this, put it
Yeah.
here, and then most of those images when I did that, not just me, it's just me and my team. Someone can come in and say, "Hey, let's slap this here, let's put this there," and then the image comes up very beautiful. So, yeah, most of the time, that's when the images come out beautiful.
Yeah, perfect. Great answer.
Yeah, and then how
All
long?
right.
Yeesh. I've been doing studio. I think this is my second year now of doing studio
Only
work.
second
Like I said,
year. Wow,
yeah.
the advanced quite
So-
far.
this is my second, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's my second year of doing studio photography. Like I said, I've always been that guy who shoots natural light. Even
Mm.
my friends would come to me and say, "Hey, try OCF." I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. And then until one day I tried it, and then I was like, okay, let me forget natural. Let me forget natural. Like I think I enjoy doing this.
Now, the studio just offers you that amount of control as well. They say studio photography is easy, but it's difficult because of that amount of control. So, no mistakes allowed, basically. So,
Yeah, that's
shoot. Yeah. All right. So, let's see what else we have here. Waltery, hello. Thank you for
yes,
joining.
sir.
I know it's a loaded question, but how do you decide how to pose subjects?
Um, it's the subject itself will tell me how to pose it. So I mean, how can I explain this? Like I said, I feed off them. So I just make them stand there and be
Mm,
like, okay, pose like this. Like we say, we look at the reference and here's a reference. This is your pose, right? Let's hit it
mm,
as is. And then from there on, then I started, okay, move like this, move like that, and then after that, then I would say, okay, now be free, be yourself,
mm,
right? Don't think I'm just gonna keep firing. Every time flash goes, just change your position. You don't need to worry about what it looks like,
mhm,
something like that. You just pose, just have fun. That's what I want to do.
mm,
So in most occasions, most of the shot that they pick are the ones where they were just going off and just changing positions and posing and stuff like
mm,
that. So that's pretty much how I do it. And then their true selves come out when you do that instead of
mm.
you posing them like stand here, do this, do this. It looks odd.
Mm.
People look posed, so I don't like that.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you kind of create a base pose, like you use a reference off your phone or off the laptop, but from there, try your best for the model to get into it organically. Like from there, start flowing with something that feels more natural to him or her.
Yes, so their true self have to come out of that pose.
Mm,
Yeah, that's pretty much what I want because they want that from me. It's like I have this picture, I want this picture. It's like, okay, cool, but this is a different person. So let's see what you can give me from that angle. Sorry, timer, switch it off and on.
no
Ah,
worries.
I'm learning. I'm learning. I'll get next time. I'll get it right.
No
Next
worries.
time. Yep, we are back on.
All right. Yeah. So I thought about it, in terms of posing. Now, how do you advise somebody to be better at posing? Well, I think drop the tips and tricks. Don't learn tips and tricks whatsoever. What I mean by that is
Yeah.
often people have those posing sheets and references handy, and they'll show the model off the phone, okay, do this. And as you already demonstrated, they'll do okay, I need to do this or this or this. I need to turn around like this. And it looks very forced.
Mhm.
I think a good approach to it is to learn body language. Um, I
Yes,
don't know if
most
you have
definitely.
seen Queen's Gambit. So
Mm,
I was
nope.
about a chess player, a very good chess player, but she learned body language, especially in regards to hand movements. So playing chess against someone, she could read this person's hands as to what their temperament was. If this person was feeling under pressure or if they were quite aggressive, playing chess, etc. And I thought to myself, that's actually a good way of going about photography as well, just learning about body language and applying it how necessary. So the poses, don't force it, but at the same time, you can look for things, little cues, little hints as to what looks unnatural, what looks forced, what looks uncomfortable, etc. So when you're having conversations with a person face to face, you can sense if a person's uncomfortable or aggressive or
Most
if they are
definitely,
content.
yes.
So you're going to need to learn those cues specifically. There was a TV show as well. Can't remember what it was called, but it was about a detective that learned body language, and every episode they would explain certain cues, and I thought that was quite fascinating.
So, body language is important in terms of that. Oh, I guess in my case, speaking of hand and body language, I used to play poker a lot. I was
Okay.
so
Interesting, yes.
reading body language. I guess that's where it comes from.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was a poker manager where I used to work at
Interesting.
online poker manager. That is, I played a lot of poker online. But then I switched. I went and play at Monte Casino quite a lot. That's where it used to be my home. I mean, I used to knock off from work and go straight to Monte Casino. 5 o'clock in the morning when they knock off, I'm going home, sleep for an hour, go back to work. So that used to be my routine type of setup. So when I do something, I become passionate about it and I just focus on it. Like I wanted to be a professional poker player. But well, that didn't work out. I also wanted to be a professional basketball player. That didn't work out. So hey, I'm sure pro in terms of photography that might work out.
Well, that's interesting. So you kind of used all of these other adventures of yours, and you're applying that to photography. I think that's a good way of evolving as a person. Don't forget things in your experiences.
Subconsciously.
Yes, that's a
Subconsciously.
good word, yeah. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, so Jay Ray, as a creative, you hit something like a dead space at some point in your career. How do you balance your love/passion for your craft without it being a day job?
Ooh, hey, when you hit that dead space.
It's what we call the lighter's block as opposed to writer's block.
Yeah. Hey, I think at some point I did. Maybe that's when I switched into wanting to go into video as well, just to add a bit of adventure, so that I don't focus on just one thing. So maybe that's what brought up the excitement back. And what I think I got bad advice from a friend. Ben, I hope you're listening. But he also was advised because he was like, don't over edit a picture, or don't some pictures they don't need editing at all type of setup. So yeah, so I started doing that and I wasn't enjoying my edits at all. And then I started looking at other people's work and wanted my work to look like theirs. And it wasn't really working at all until I switched back and wanted to be myself and edit the way I want to edit. So, yeah, that brought back the excitement into my photography once again.
Yeah, so in terms of dealing with that dead space, it's a difficult topic to get into because
Most
everybody will
definitely.
need to, everybody will need to get out of their dead space in their own unique way, personal way. So my advice may not work for you, type of situation. Now, from the best I can say here is to continue shooting. You need to get into that habitual, repeated mode doing photography. Now, as soon as you quit or give yourself a break or anything of the sort, your brain just deactivates, and that's not good whatsoever. So you kind of need to keep those creative gears going, even if you don't get the results that you want. At least you are in that active
You're
mode,
still going,
and
yeah.
it's revitalizing the brain, and it's just keep things going and churning forward. So it's something that I used to do in the past. Give myself a 2-week hiatus or take a break, but it was extremely difficult to get back into photography.
Into it, yeah.
So perhaps good advice is to, if you're doing model photography, try landscape photography. If you're doing landscape photography, try macro photography, just as a side project. And what you learn from those new adventures, you can apply to your main field of photography.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I would say yes, you can do that. But also, sometimes you just need to challenge yourself, even if you're shooting models, right? Just try something different. Still playing with models, just add a bit of spice to your pictures. If maybe you used to shoot them in studio type of setup, try and add a lot of props, see what you get from there. You just try and make it as exciting as possible for yourself until you get back to normal again and start enjoying what you are doing.
So wise words that I live by is keep doing, but don't repeat mistakes. If you make a mistake, perfectly fine. Now you know what not to do. But if you repeat your mistake, that is the mistake. So keep
Most
churning,
definitely.
keep going forward, but be proactive at studying your own work as well. So after every photo shoot, look at what you did right, look at what you didn't do right. It helps to ask other people as well, because certain things you may not see whatsoever. And I think that's also good advice if you're in a bit of a dead space, is to communicate with people as well.
Yeah, most definitely.
Just in terms of your own work as well, and you can study their work as well. We can listen to them describe their own work. As I said, you need to get into that habitual daily routine of doing photography. If you get out of it, it's difficult to get back into it.
And if you're single, just get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Maybe that might help.
Somebody to practice on, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's because you are lonely. You need a partner next to you. That's the thing.
Yeah, so if it's not for a girlfriend or boyfriend, what I used to do is I took photos of rugby balls, and eventually I got a mannequin head. As sad as that may sound, but to take photos of, and I have like tens of thousands of photos of that mannequin head. So even if I'm not shooting, I am still shooting. I'm practicing on inanimate objects. So it's a rugby ball, a mannequin head. That later progressed to the pets as well. So the dogs and the cats. Finally getting a girlfriend. The girlfriend one became the practice subject.
Yeah, I have a problem with doing that. I've always learned on the job. I can't take something and say, okay, I'm just shooting this for the fun of it, or so as to learn. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I can't. I've always learned on the job. Even wedding photography, it's like, okay, I have a 600D and a 50 mil and a 50 mil, a 60D and an 1855. I'm just gonna make it work. I'll see when I get there what happens, But that's just me. Even videography, I still can't take a camera and say, let me practice. I always wait for a job, and then it's like, okay, I'll learn on the job how I'm going to do this. So that's where I'm at right now in terms of videography.
Yeah, so you can't practice. I can't practice proper photography, obviously, on a mannequin head, but it's something I promised myself. It happened a couple of times to me early on. On the day of the shoot, I didn't know what settings to use. And I thought that was absolutely criminal. I was not going to do that again. So prior to a photo shoot with a mannequin head or whatever object it may be, at least I can get my settings right beforehand. So on a day, it's just nailed in, it's dialed in, and then the photo shoot can start. Now I can actually communicate with the model and not stress about anything else.
Most definitely. I guess maybe that's me. I have a problem with that. I want to learn. When I get there, we just do it right there and then. Until we get it right.
That's a good approach, That's a good approach. It's kind of throwing yourself into the chaos, into the deep end, and learning how to swim thereafter.
Even the people that I work with, most of the time you find someone who's not into photography. So I just teach them just a little bit, because I'm not very good at teaching. Anyways, like I said, I'm not. When it comes to explaining, I'm very bad. So I just give them a camera and just throw them in a deep end. It's like, okay, we're shooting. Are you gonna shoot from this side? I'm gonna shoot from this side. Here's the settings. Don't change them. If you run into trouble, come into me and then I'll change them for you. That's pretty much what I do. So the two people that I've worked with or I work with, that's how they got to learn, And we have a great chemistry between me and my team in terms of that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, sounds good. Let's see what else we have here. Got plenty of questions from the audience. Thank you so much. I have to do some catch up now. How much does editing play a role into your work? Do you sometimes have to work with just quick edit and send it? Sorry, I'm losing myself here. Quick edit and send it. Does all work have to go through the brush? Right. So how long do you spend time with editing? do you often give yourself opportunities not to edit, just kind of send out the raw images, or what's your process like?
You. Well, first of all, shout out to Nico for that question. The setup, he also helped with it, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He knows me very well. That's why he's asking that question. Because with me, I don't mind taking 3 hours, spending 3 hours or days on one picture.
Yeah,
So
same.
yeah, when it comes to editing, no compromise, no compromise. And which is the problem that I have right now with load shedding happening like
Oof.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I mean, per day, if I'm gonna spend 1 hour or 2 hour, 3 hour on a picture, I can only do three pictures, and I'm tired. you know. And the one thing that I hate is I hate editing a picture when someone is posing like this, and then the next picture they're just posing like that. No, no, no. I want something different. I want a different challenge.
Mm,
So yeah, I hate it when a client chooses a picture with them standing like this, and then the head is looking like that, but it's still the same picture. So now I'm
yes,
gonna spend
absolutely. Yeah.
another 2 hours or an hour on that picture, where the difference is just a slight
Mm-hmm.
difference. But yeah, in terms of editing, that's pretty much me. I love editing. Raws, I don't send out raws or unedited pictures to a person. I mean, and then they're gonna put it out there and then tag you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, nah, I don't do that at all. But some people force you to.
Now, if they pay for it, I think that's what we
Yeah,
have to
if they
worry
pay
about.
for it, so like, hey, you can have it. Okay, 1 second. Let me switch off. Let me change batteries. It's at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, just changing batteries. But yeah,
Okay,
with
Ash.
Nico, I hope you got your answer, Nico. You can always ask me that question when we are together. Type setup. Yeah, the other way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on the photographer itself. Now, if you want to send out plenty of images with slight enhancements, then by all means make that your business policy. There are people that like quote unquote natural photos. I know that's a contentious topic in itself. But if you want to spend a good amount of time editing your photos and create something that is unique to you, and if that is your brand, then by all means that is your brand, and that's
Mhm.
what you need to push out. So again, my advice may not be your advice, etc. So it's one of those cases. I know of plenty of good photographers out there that hardly do any editing. It's kind of a
Mhm.
case of batch processing everything in Lightroom and sending hundreds of photos to the clients in almost in 10 minutes time. But yeah, I think in the case of you and you in particular, just spending a lot of time per image, creating something that is unique to you. And as I said,
Yeah, most
that is
definitely.
your brand and that is what you use to sell yourself.
Unless if it's an event. I mean, if it's an event, yeah, no, nothing goes through the brush. If it's an event, I'm not gonna spend time frequency separation on the skin or stuff like that. I don't even remove blemishes when it's an event. I just throw it into Lightroom, work on it, and then send the pictures to the people as is. I don't even throw them into Photoshop unless if I have to.
Right. Okay, good points. All right. So I see more questions, but I'm going to put these on ice for the time being. As promised, we're going to go through Thabang's images and he's going to talk us through
Hey,
how he went
yeah.
about creating these images, what inspired him. So basically, anything that you want to say about these photos. And again, in the audience, if you have questions pertaining to any one of these images, please do ask in the comment section. All right. So what I see here is a spectacularly great dramatic photo, very low key. So first
Mhm.
question I want to ask you, what was the lighting in this setup?
So as a one light setup, I used a beauty dish. I think I slapped a grid on it.
Hmm. That's a
Yeah,
very
with my
focused light, so it must be the honeycomb there.
yeah, yeah, it is. And then with my MS300. So that was the lighting setup. It was camera. The light was camera right,
All right,
coming from the
so
top. Yeah.
this wasn't dark makeup. So was this done in Photoshop to desaturate the face and to have the makeup stand out in color?
It was some kind of makeup, dark
Okay,
makeup. So the
interesting.
black side of it, yeah. So with my makeup artist, that's what we worked on because the client asked for pictures like this. But I do have more that we did off this shoot where now there's artwork on the face, not just plain black. It's black with a bit of artwork. So yeah, I don't share those because she hasn't shared them. I only share pictures that the clients share. So with those, maybe I'll print it one day and put it up in my studio.
Oh, you
But
must.
yeah, but it is makeup. But unfortunately, I don't have the before. I wish I could have the before. The picture does not even look as close to what it looks like right now.
Hmm.
I made it look this way.
All right. Okay, I think that's good there. So this image. All right.
Yes, Corey,
So
Corey.
3 or 4 lights. I can use my best judgment here.
Ooh, let me see. There's one that was pointing at the background because here it's literally, if not my first studio shoot,
Was this your
it
first studio shoot?
yes, if not
Dude,
my
I
first studio.
want to show you my first photo shoot. It nowhere close to anything like this. It looked like awful. It's trash. So you
I,
telling me this was your first studio shoot? That's
Yes,
remarkable.
this was my first. So what happens is a friend of mine, like I said, Ben. He also does the same thing as I do to my team right now. He just throws you in a deep end. So just put me in the room with this lady and be like, "Hey, go ahead, shoot her," because we were chilling outside and then I wanted to try a studio shoot. So I took her in and then yeah, he's like, nah. Yes, yeah, yes, everything. So what I used to do, I used to watch them, set up their lighting and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and then maybe learn from there. So yeah, but as for the gel behind, he helped me with that. I still have trouble in terms of gels, but yeah, it was a 3 light setup because there's one on my camera right, camera left, the separation light. There's that, and then
Uh-huh.
there's I think it was a P120, if I'm not wrong, that we used as a key light.
Do you want to explain to the audience what a separation light is?
Oh, so now here we go on the technical side of things. See on the shoulder,
You see, I'm
there's
throwing
that.
you in a deep end now as well.
Yeah, I can tell. There's that light on the shoulder that's separating her from the background. It's not
Mm.
only on the shoulder, but when you go lower on the glutes. That's what yeah. Speaking of glutes, always say glutes to a client when you want them to adjust them. Type of setup
Mm.
instead of calling it something else. It makes them
No, we
uncomfortable.
need to find proper words. We can't use the traditional words
Yes,
whatsoever.
yes. So I don't use that. I use glutes.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's because I work with a lot of fitness junkies, so I use that a lot. But yeah, that's the separation light, just to separate your subject from the background.
Yeah, otherwise the model kind of blends into the background. So if you have that
Most
separation, it
definitely,
just creates a bit of depth to your image. So
yes.
clever use of lighting here.
And it
Something
was
we
shot
spoke
on
about.
a black velvet.
Oh, okay. Haven't
Yeah,
heard of the velvets in a long time. Now, we used to sell
I,
those quite a lot, but it fell out of
yeah.
fashion.
I think I bought the last one from you guys. I
Oh
still have
God.
it. I still have it. Yeah,
No,
but
it
that
creates an
that
interesting pattern, yeah.
yeah, that's best when it comes to shooting. With black background, I
Mm,
prefer I prefer a velvet because it sucks up all that light.
yes.
I tried it with a black cloth, and then I told myself I'll never do that again because I know we were at the shoot with Ben, and then the editing that I had to do afterwards. I think maybe
The
it's because
wrinkles,
yeah, maybe it's
the
because I
wrinkles and the
shot with an
creases.
umbrella. Maybe that's where the problem was. It was a big umbrella that we shot with. I didn't understand lighting that much then.
So the wrinkles and the creases in a backdrop, was that what you needed to edit out?
Yeah, and I still was not. How can I put it in terms of photography editing? I still was not that good as yet. So I used a black brush.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it
So
is a nightmare, that cotton backdrops,
yo,
Unless you
Yeah,
have a
no.
steamer on location that can just get rid of those creases beforehand. If not, you have a lot of Photoshop work ahead of you.
But right now, no, I can. You can give me a cloth. No, I'd still make it work. I'd still make it work.
Good.
Eh,
All right. So something we spoke about earlier would be the natural hands. What I see here is just the hands in a very natural position. So it's how did you go about creating that? You just ask the model to move their hands about, because often that can create natural hand poses as well as this continuous motion. Or was it just something that you spotted? It was a case of, okay, keep your hands there. That looks good.
No. It wasn't that because I just asked her to move around quite a lot, and then if I like something, it's like no, hold it right there, and then I'll shoot it. But in this case, yeah, she is a very good model. She's a very good model, so it made life easy for me. She just stood there and started moving around and playing with her hair and stuff like that. So that's how we got this picture and plenty more other pictures that I took of her from the same day. Still one of my best pictures that I've done with her. But I know I've done way much more better pictures as opposed to these ones with her.
All
That
right.
is.
Let's have a look at some others. All right. So I
Oy,
quite like this one.
we get into the celebrities.
All right. Tell us more.
No, it's Lamise. It's Lamise, one of the famous DJs. She's a DJ at Metro FM, and yeah, quite famous at Current. So she's a hot thing right now. Okay, pregnant at the moment. Yeah, she's still happening. So actually, she's the one who called me. She saw some of my work, around the same look as this one, and then she gave me a call. It's like, dude, I've been shooting with other people, but I don't get this look and feel. So I know I can get it from you. So yeah, and then she sent ideas, kept on changing every now and then, and then
Good.
yeah, and then she wanted something African and something different, something Wakanda-ish. So that's when we put up all these beats, and me and my team, put up all these beats. Or we asked her, bring your bra and your underwear, and then we're just gonna put the beats on it, and then yeah, this is and then it worked out nice. And then put a lot of oil because that's what she wanted. We had to put a lot of oil on her.
Now that oil just creates nice specularity, a bit of
Yes,
shininess here and there. It just adds a lot of life to the image.
yes, yeah,
Stuff to be
yeah.
careful with as well, because that shininess can go a little bit too extreme at some point. So what modifier did you use here on your lights?
Here it was a P120 or obviously
Okay.
MS300. Yeah, MS300 on a P120, and then it was a one light setup.
Sorry, I have a mosquito on my lens. Yeah, the point I was making is that with the oil, that you need to use a big modifier for that. If you're going to use a small modifier, this is going to look too specular, too highlighty, if that's a real word or not. But yeah, to use a big modifier, it will just help to soften up the oil, the
Yeah,
effect of the
most
oil, the
definitely.
reflection as
But
well.
that's the effect we were going for based on the reference that she sent me. Because the reference that she sent me, it was actually put into Blender. It was a shoot that was done, edited, and then put into Blender so as to give it that plastic look. Obviously,
Okay.
I can't do that. So it's like, okay, like I said, I'll learn on the job. I'll just bring a lot of oil and just slap it on there. I'll do the editing at home and make it look something close to that. So that's why it should look plasticky, because that's what we were going for. Yeah.
Okay,
And then,
great.
yeah, like I
Yeah,
said, one light setup because I wanted hair to fade into the other side.
yeah, so here no separation light, but yeah, it serves the
No,
purpose.
no, not in this case, no.
Yeah, so the backdrop, was it the velvet again?
No, it wasn't a velvet this time. It was a black cloth. Like I said, now I know how to make it work. How to make it work.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's
Because
see
we
what
shot
else
we,
we
we,
got.
sh- we actually shot it at a house, so I couldn't take.
Oh, okay, interesting. So the big
Yeah,
backdrops, no. This is a pain to
no.
carry those big backdrops.
Yeah, that's the thing. We actually did carry a backdrop, because that's where I used the brown backdrop. But in terms of velvet, we left it behind, so I used a black cloth.
No, but I
Yeah.
hear often if you're alone, the big backdrops are not practical to carry around.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, what do we got
Yeah,
here? So we went from the
Barley.
soft lighting to the hard lighting. So I
Yeah,
suspect bare
this
flash.
was yeah. It was this
Okay.
is I went to a workshop. I think it was at Sunshine Co. That's
Mhm.
where I learned how to use this light. That's the explaining and stuff like that. This was my first time trying it, and then yeah, it was. I think I used what's that brand? Ooh, I forgot. But yeah, let's say just out of let's say 8600 because I can get an 8600 looks like
Mhm.
this. So when I use the same effect or the same look, I use my 8600 there, and then
Mhm.
yeah, and then you just it's in how you position it that would give you that soft light. Sometimes I just throw a beauty dish on it just to soften the light a bit more.
Mhm.
But yeah, the power you really have to push it up.
Yeah, so with a bare light, you get that crisp, well-defined shadow on the background.
Yes, this is more for
Yes.
your fashion photography type of setup. Yes,
Yeah, where the shadow
so this
becomes
is,
a character almost by itself.
but it's a one light set up. If I'm not, if
Yes.
I'm, if I'm not wrong, this was a one light setup. Yeah. Sometimes I do add a light on the side, but in this case, it was a one light setup.
All right. Yeah,
Most of the stuff happens when it comes to editing. That's where I make the picture look good when it comes to editing. Yeah.
yeah, I often shoot with multiple lighting, but I always gravitate towards the single light setups because I think in some way it just looks natural because our brains are used to one light, that being the sun. So if you use too many lights, it kind of gets into artificial territory. So I do like the one light setups. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I enjoyed them quite a lot when I was starting, but now I'm just venturing into using more lights. I could go
Mm,
three, I could go four lights, I can go five lights if I want to, depending on what look and feel
yeah,
I'm going for. Yeah.
of course. All right, see what else we got. All right, I want to pinpoint the dodging and
You-
burning done here.
That's yeah, that dodging and burning. If you don't know how to dodge and burn, don't go into fitness. That,
All right, so
you're not
let's
gonna.
start from square one. So the backdrop we used, was it an infinity curve or was it
Nope.
a PVC or cloth backdrop? Tell
PVC.
us more.
Yeah, it's
PVC.
a white PVC. Yeah, it's a
Awesome.
white PVC. I use that quite a lot. So that to get that gray, I actually used
Hmm.
one light. Oh yeah, one light. I don't think I used. Yeah, I think I only used one light in this case,
All right,
and
so the
then if
positioning of the lights, also what
eh,
modifier did you use?
ooh, I need to remember because it can't be an umbrella. It must have been
Looks softboxing.
yeah. It must have been a P120
Hmm.
if I'm not wrong. And then I pushed it much closer towards her,
Yes.
so that the light does not spill onto the background. So that's
Also
it.
creates a bit more contrast as well. So if you want to get
Yes.
that musculature, pushing the light a little bit closer just helps to create a bit more definition.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I bought the beauty dish, but I don't use it that much.
Hmm.
But yeah, I brought it much closer so as to get that gray in the
Yes.
background. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Yeah.
All right. Now jump into the dodging and burning. What is your technique for dodging and burning? Because I know there are multiple ways of going about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Mine is simple. I use curves, so just
Yeah.
go into curves, just darken it, go into curves again, lighten it, and then you have your dodging and your burning. Nothing more. So I put my brush on one, and then you just dodge and burn.
Perfect. Yeah, I did some really very good techniques here with your dodging and burning.
Yeah, and I use and
Yeah,
I most people though I use a mouse. I don't use a pen. So most people they
really?
enjoy. Yeah, most people enjoy dodging and bending. They use a pen. I tried that thing once and it didn't work out well for me. It didn't work out well for me at all.
You must
So
have a
I
steady hand then.
yeah, by now I do. By now I do. But yeah, all my dodging and burning, I use a mouse. Well,
Yeah,
everything in my
so
editing, yeah, it's I edit with a mouse. Maybe
if
at a
photography
later
doesn't work
stage.
out, yeah, if photography doesn't work out, you can try to be a surgeon with that steady hand.
Yeah, I wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid. Anyways,
Oh
maybe
well.
that's where it come. Maybe that's where it
You
comes
see,
from.
using bits and pieces. All right. So again, yeah, fitness photography.
Yes, Mapule. Yes. It's one of the famous fitness junkie as well. She's well known within that industry. A lot of people still think she didn't jump. She actually jumped for that shot.
Um,
That's how fit she is. And
oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was still using my MS300, so you can't put it on high speed sync.
Hmm.
So yeah, so hey, I know when you zoom in properly, you can tell it's like okay, there was a bit of movement on the feet and stuff like that. But I guess that also helps me because now it does tell people that she jumped. She
Yes.
wasn't put on two chairs or something like that. Yeah, but this
Yeah.
is yeah first
Bit
time
of
around.
motion blur is necessary.
Yes, so first time around hit that and it worked out well.
I'm
And then
hearing a
there's
lot of celebrities. How do you get contact with these celebrities?
hey, they contact me. They
Nice.
contact no yeah, but in most occasions I would request to shoot with them. In terms of this shoot, I'm the one who actually asked to shoot her, and then afterwards, then she came back. Even with my other fitness
Hmm.
celebrity fitness junkie, we started off, me contacting her and be like, I want to work with you, and I showed her what we want to do with her, and then she was impressed, worked with her, and then obviously people around the circle started coming through to shoot with me based on the pictures themselves. I make them look natural,
Hmm.
I don't brush out what you call the muscles and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I don't make them look smooth. They have to have those deep
Hmm.
cuts. That's what I do. And there isn't a lot of people who shoot fitness photography because they don't know how to edit it. Maybe it's a gift, I don't know, but I enjoy it. And first time I did it right.
That's
And
definitely a talent.
yeah, and I guess also looking at other people who shoot the same thing, who are in the same industry, looking at your Sean and your what's this guy? I forgot his name. I know it's from MDS photography,
Hmm. Yeah.
but yeah, that's where those are the people that I look up to, or
Hmm.
that I looked up to when it came to editing fitness.
All right. So to embarrass you a little bit, this brother once bought a suit just to do a presentation at school. So his dedication to his craft is unquestionable. Much success, brother.
I still have that suit, by the way. The blazer still fits me. Although the trouser is not there
Hmm.
anymore. Though. Yeah, but I only wear it when I'm going to funerals.
That's a good story, that one. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah.
Oi.
So this is quite fascinating. So let's first start off with the rigging. How did you mount this fabric?
Just two stands and a bar crossing. That's pretty
Okay.
much,
Simple
yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's that simple. And then yeah, you just put it on the bar, and then just roll the cloth down around her, and then just spread it around. But now the cloth does not look like that. There's a lot of editing that went into making it look as smooth as it is.
So you smoothed it out, so getting rid of the creases and wrinkles.
Yeah, which is a lot of work. That's why I say, hey, once I start editing, I just go in there. Can be in there for a long time.
Was she sitting on something or she hanging on for
Nah,
dear life?
um, yes, she was was she sitting? Let me no, she was sitting, if I remember very well.
But was she pulling herself up for the photo itself?
No.
Yeah.
She was sitting on the chair, the famous chair. I call it the famous chair. I think I removed the bits and pieces of it for when I edited.
I was about
But
to ask because
once again, it is implied. It's not
Hmm,
nude. It's implied nude.
hmm. I wanted to ask. I can see with her musculature in her arms that she was kind of pulling herself up, and the point I wanted to make was it's important to do that because you can't just
Oh,
have a model sitting down, even
you
with
know.
her on her tippy toes as well. That's very important. You can't just,
Mhm.
asking a model to sit down on a chair. It's often why I don't do that because they get a little bit too comfortable on the chair. So I still
Yeah,
want that
most
dynamic action poses even when sitting on a chair. So what you did here was to direct the model very well, tippy toes and pulling onto that fabric to create that tension in her
definitely.
arms.
Most definitely.
Good
Yeah,
work.
we had to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm getting there. Like I said, I'm getting there.
Now, I think you have arrived, sir. This is probably my favorite. The
Oh,
tones I do appreciate here. Very good homogeneous coloring or analogous coloring, should it be called?
yeah.
Backdrop, paper, or did you do Photoshop tricks here?
Now paper.
Good, paper.
Yeah,
So,
it is paper backdrop. Yeah, like I said, I shot it at her house. This is Lamise once again.
mhm.
Yeah, I took everything to the house with her. And this picture, it's a PR picture actually that she uses for her um,
Okay.
DJing stuff. They use this picture quite a lot in terms of
Mm.
events that she goes to. Yeah, but yeah,
So, was this a choice by you to keep the colors very similar throughout? So, not just the backdrop, but the clothing and obviously the skin tone and the jewelry. So, it's a golden brown scheme all over. So,
like
was somebody actively making sure of this, or was it a happy accident?
no, like I said, everything happens spontaneously on set, you know. So
Mm,
she was like, "I'm wearing this," and I was like, "Okay, fine. This is gonna look good on this paper backdrop." So
mm,
sometimes that's so. What I do is I ask the model to bring out all the clothes first, so that we know, okay, fine, we're gonna shoot this, and then this is gonna look good on a certain backdrop, so that we can set up for the look while she's still changing. You know, so in terms
now
of
that's
this, yeah, in terms of
as a,
this is what she showed us, and then was like, okay, fine,
mhm.
this would work perfectly fine on this background.
Now what I appreciate here is the separation light, but it's adding a splash of light just around her jaw,
Yeah,
just accentuating the angularity of her face, just sharpening that face up a little bit more. So
yeah,
all
most
that depth
definitely.
just works very well in her face here.
Yeah, and with this, I
Good.
use the speed. It's a speed light on
Mhm.
a what's this? What's this soft box? It's the soft box. I know I bought it from you guys. Uh, yeah, that's me. I don't know my soft box, but it looks like a strip box, but it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's not long enough, and but it's a bit wide-ish. So I used to
Mhm.
use that as my strip box. So this is
Okay.
what happened here. So yeah,
So I want to explain to the audience what a strip box is. So I see you've got a couple behind you.
yes. The a strip box is what's behind me. Yeah. I use it a lot for separation light. Yeah,
Oops. So let's get your face back. Yeah, so the strip boxes behind you, the long,
yeah,
skinny soft boxes. So you
yes.
just use that to create a very narrow beam of light to keep light off the background and away from the camera.
Yeah, and
That's
it
a very
works
good
well.
investment for a studio.
Yeah, I'm trying to invest quite a lot in, especially based on what I shoot. So these works out perfectly fine for me when I'm shooting my fitness models.
Oh,
So as
perfect.
I think so as to get that that light that also that feels as if it's coming through from the back and it's going forward, and then
Mm,
they just blend into the background. So almost like your magazine type of shoot with a hard light
yes.
at the back. Yes,
Yes. Yeah,
yes.
mixing soft light and hard light's a good technique in studio. Right, we got a question here. How did you get into fitness photography?
I used to play sports quite a lot, you know.
Mm,
So yeah, I invested a lot in sports as a kid. So getting into it was quite easy for me, and it's just let's say maybe something that I felt like I want to get into, and then as I was browsing through my Instagram, I ran into Z. She's
mm,
a Z fitness junkie. She's one of the celebrities as well in fitness, and I asked to shoot her, and you know, for free, but we wanted to infuse fitness with African look. So we
mm.
painted, yeah, we painted her and stuff like that. And then from there on, she started coming back to me, and we started shooting her in terms of her fitness stuff because she loved how I edit her in terms of the fitness pictures. And then most of her friends, obviously, she knows
Mm.
quite a few other fitness people, and then they started coming at me as well.
Ah, perfect. Let's see. Last image. Again,
Uh, yes,
exemplary
fitness.
work
One
done
more
with the
time.
last.
Yes,
So, in
yes,
terms of
yes.
dodging and burning, how typically long does it take you to complete an
Right.
image like this?
Well, right now it doesn't take me that long as it used to. I'd say in terms of dodging and bending here, it took about 30 minutes or so. Sometimes,
Hmm?
yeah, time
Good going.
flies when you're yeah, time flies when you're having fun though. Yeah, but yeah,
Just the fact
that's
that
it.
you're doing it with a mouse is still astounding me.
Well, yeah, well, one day somebody please buy me a Wacom, maybe a Wacom tablet. Maybe I can get into dodging and burning with a pen.
But it looks of it, you may not need it. I don't think you need it. You're doing a good job.
Pro- yeah, probably not. Yeah, I'm happy with what I do right now. Yeah,
Mm,
but I enjoy. This is my favorite part when it comes to editing, the dodging and burning part. Everything
mm.
else it's kind of boring and stuff like that. But when I get into dodging and burning, that's when I get lost in it. I can sit there for days just dodging and burning. Yeah, maybe that's
All
why.
right.
Maybe that's why fitness people love me so much, love my work so much, and wanna work
I
with
can
me.
see why.
Yeah, but now magazines also should start working with me. You know, holla.
Okay, okay. All right. So, in terms of the lighting, so backdrop was a PVC again.
Yes, definitely. PVC, white PVC, and
How did you
then
light up that white backdrop?
okay. So now this is in most occasions is post. So
Post. Okay.
yeah. So I do light it up with a speed light.
Mm-hmm.
As long as what you call the speed light can give me this color around her so that I don't have to cut her out. That's my
Yes.
starting point. That's my starting point. So I put the speed light behind her, and then just as long as I
Okay, I
can get
understand.
that look, and as long as I can get that light to
Mm.
be what it is behind her, then I can work on everything else.
All right. Okay, I understand. So you put the speed light behind her, blow out the background, and kind of extend the whiteness to the corners.
Yes, but yeah, easier said than done. But when it comes to working, when it comes to editing, no, it's not. It's a lot of work. You don't
Mhm.
just brush and stuff like that. There's a lot of technique that I use to make sure that I get pure white.
Sure, sure. Now, as
Yeah.
long as you get the edges, the color, the appropriate color, so you don't have
Yes.
to cut around the model. That's will take even longer.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. That's and I hate that. I hate that.
All right. Okay. So thank you for explaining your images. Job well done. I've learned a
Thank
lot,
you
and I think
very
the
much.
audience
It
have
was a
learned a lot.
pleasure.
So, big crowd still. Thank you. So, if you have more questions to ask, please do drop them in the comment section. Let me see if I've missed anything. How do you deal with these two issues first? If something you do as part of the creative, somebody tells you that an error on a photo. Second, if someone came to you and asked you to copy another photographer's style. Okay, very good questions here. All right, so let's tackle the first one first. So if somebody basically complains that you've made an error in a photo, how do you go about talking to that person, number one, and fixing the problem, secondly?
Okay. If someone comes to me and says that to me, is like, I don't like what you did here and there. I just ask them, okay, fine. Well, where did I go wrong? Explain to me, what do you want it to look like? And then I can take it from there. If I can make it look the same way that they want me to look, then I'll do it. If I can't take it that far, I do explain to them it's not going to work for the image to look a certain way. I can get up to this far with it. So that's pretty much how I deal with that. Yeah.
And the second question, if somebody asks you to copy another photographer's style.
It's a bit hard to copy someone else's style. I can give you what they have shot, but in my own way. It's not gonna look like theirs, because I don't know what they did to get maybe the lighting or to edit maybe the coloring and stuff like that. I don't know what they did, so I'm gonna try and do it the same way, but I'm not gonna give you 100% what that person is giving you. Yeah, I can give you as far as I can go in terms of how I edit.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, Warren, again, any local photographers you follow and look up to for some inspiration?
Well, I follow you, Warren.
Nice one. That's a feather in your cap, Warren.
There's a lot of photographers that I followed in the years that I've been into photography. I started with TC. That's the one person who inspired me, my photography in the beginning, especially natural light. He's the one reason why I bought that soft box instead of an octobox, when I started out, because I saw him shooting with it. Yeah, then I learned at the later stage, okay, I should have bought an octobox for my speed light. It would have worked much easier than that sort of strip box type of thing. But the first person that I kind of made me enjoy photography in the beginning was TC Maila. And I do have some of my work that I've shot that almost look like his work, because now when I post it, like, people be like, hey, I thought this was TC Maila, and then it kind of hit me. It's like I don't want people to see my work and think it's somebody else's work. So I started looking for my own work. That's the one person that I followed, and right now I do look into Austin Malema quite a lot. I follow him. I follow his work, what he's doing. He is pretty much where I want to go. So currently, he's the one guy that I'm looking at. And then in terms of fitness photography, there's Sean, and then there's MDS photography. Those are the people that I look at. And then there's others also that I follow their work. I know it's Jest in Jest photography in Durban. There's another Jest here as well. He does video quite a lot as well. But yeah, those are the people in fitness that I follow.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's Justin Dingwall. I love Justin Dingwall's work. So I would love to work with him one day, especially understand the printing side of things, because I do have a lot of work that I've shot that I haven't edited that I would love to have to print, But I still also want to work, maybe put up concepts and then print them and take them to exhibitions, type of setup. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Right now, I'm just doing what I'm doing because I have to get paid. But if it wasn't the case, I would go the Justin Dingwall route.
Now, I think that's an important step. It's in my pipeline as well. Just wanting to print my photos and just to have it displayed, even if it's not
and to sell them.
Well, selling would be ideal. Yes,
most definitely.
But I think just to enter a room with your work in it, I think
Oh,
that will just be inspirational. Just a pat on my own back, just to see my work displayed, even if it's in my own personal space.
most definitely, yeah.
All
I'm
right.
I'm try, I'm
So,
trying to do that in my studio, but I'll get
hmm.
there. I'm trying to build a
Yeah,
crispy.
same.
I call it a crispy wall, but okay, I'll start. I don't know when, but I'll start.
Okay. Well, I'll hold you to that. So I'm going to ask you in a couple of weeks' time, have you printed stuff yet?
No, I wouldn't have. I know, not yet,
Okay, I'll
not
ask you a
yet.
couple of weeks after that then.
Maybe next year, Jen. Maybe next year, Jen.
Okay, I'm setting a reminder. I'm going to ask you. 1st January 2024.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, J Ray, you and your team are a vibe. That's a great compliment.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I'm sure the team appreciates that as well.
All right. Perfect. Okay. I got some more questions to ask you. Let's see what we have here. So I think we covered a lot of it, but I have two in particular I want to ask you. How do you stay inspired and motivated as a photographer?
Ooh. For what I would say is, I always tell myself I'm not where I want to be at the moment. That's what inspires me, because now it makes me want to strive to be better. So I'm always trying to make myself better. So that's what keeps me going. I always look at my images and be like, I can do better. So it helps me want to do more. It keeps me going, and also knowing where you want to go with your photography kind of motivates you to to keep going. I know I'm not where I should be right now, but I will get there one day. And once I get there, then that's when I'll get into printing and leave my team to do the rest.
Okay, interesting. Last question. That is from my side. So if you're still watching, audience, drop your comments, drop your questions in the comment section. Because I'm going to ask my last question, but I'm going to give the last say to the audience.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone just starting out in photography?
Run. There's plumbing out there. Maybe try out plumbing. There's a lot of money in. There's a lot of money in it. So yeah, hey,
Mm,
so whoever is starting out, what would I say, man? I do advise some people that when you're starting out, try and look into maybe someone whom you enjoy their work. Try and make your work look like theirs maybe in the beginning, and then that would in the long run give you a look and feel that you want. Because if you look at
mm,
someone's work and then you enjoy it, you love that person's work, that means it's something that's in you. You're not gonna look
mm,
at landscape photography, if you are into landscape photography deep down and you don't know it. When you look at it, you will love it and want to do something like that.
mm.
So yeah, what you see and love, just try and follow that pattern. Follow the people who are into that field. Try and get your images to look like theirs in the beginning, and then once you have the hang of it, now try and tweak it just a little bit to give it your own look and feel, so that whenever somebody comes to you or whenever somebody sees your work, they would have to say, this is so and so's work, without even having looked at who posted it. You can put
Mm.
an image out there and then they can see it and be like, no, this is Conrad's picture. That's where you gotta strive to get at. But at first, you need to learn from people who are in the industry already and try and mimic them, if that's the right word to use right now.
Yeah, so kind of follow recipes until you have your own recipe book.
Most definitely, yes. That's
Yeah.
that's the advice I would give. And yes, don't fall into the trick that you need gear. Yes, you do need it, but start small and then
Mm.
grow your gear based on what you are shooting, because gears differ, in terms of what you are shooting.
I think it was Adam Savage. He used to be one of the Mythbusters. He gave advice to people: when you buy new equipment, new tools, buy cheap, buy everything cheap. Um, and the proof is, if you break that piece of item, that means you're using it, right?
Oh,
Then you can buy something expensive.
oh
So
yes,
if
yes.
you buy cheap everything and stuff doesn't break, that means you're not using it. And
You're
so
not using
at least
that.
you didn't pay a lot of money for that thing. So I
Most
think that
definitely.
may apply to photography as well.
Most definitely. Also, the most important thing, hire your gear. The one that
Mm.
you hire the most, that's the one that you can buy.
Ah, that's good
Don't
advice.
buy and then find out later. Oh, and then you have to sell it at the cheap price. So rather hire, and then once you see this is the one that I use the most, that's the one that you should buy.
Mm.
That applies to all gear, not just lenses.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good advice. All right. So I think we're at the end of our interview, unless people have some questions to ask. I'm just going to go through and
Yes.
see if I've missed anything. So Neo saying, keep up the good lighting setup.
Yes, Kijacho Eneo, yeah, my boy from Mpumalanga. What's Lindenberg? Lindenberg. Is it in Mpumalanga, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And
It's
Meg
it's
Griffin
it.
saying, I love your work, dude.
Thank you very much, Meg.
All right. So people watching, we still have a whole bunch of people watching. That's good news. So if you have any other questions to ask, because as I said, we're done with our interview, but if you have some questions to ask, please do drop them in the comment section. Now, something I want to point out, something that I did find incredibly fascinating from this is
Yes.
your entire life story, the little bits and pieces, you being a poker player, you being a graphic designer, you being a sports individual, how that all collected into photography. Maybe photography is not your final frontier as of yet, but it kind of makes sense using all of your experience, little bits here and there, little bits
Mm-hmm.
over there, just to combine it into something that you end up loving. So the point I'm making here is that we often regret what we did in the past, and we often think, oh, we wasted time with X, Y, and Z. But there's often a bigger picture here involved. Not to use a pun, obviously, us being photographers, but everything combines, everything brings you to a point. It's kind of how Christmas trees how to be decorated traditionally speaking. So a
Oh
Christmas tree was
yes, yes.
decorated using events from the year, symbols of what happened throughout the year. And every year you kind of collect all of that. And the point of that is you jump from one ornament to the next until you reach the star at the top. So I think, yeah, it's a great way of looking at life, not regretting your past. Everything comes to a point, everything will collect to a point, and you will be exactly where you need to be. Just give it time. Don't regret what you did in the past. And I think our interview here was a great example of it. So I did find it incredibly fascinating listening to you.
No, no, thank you very much. The only thing I regret is the money I lost playing poker. That's the only thing I regret. But I'll get back into it. I want my money back.
Mm, okay, good. All right, so let's see in the comments. I think that's it. All right. So,
Yes,
Thabang,
sir.
thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a fascinating interview, as I said, very inspirational. Listening to you, your life story, how everything culminated into where you are today. I think it is great inspiration for everybody watching as well. Everybody wanting to be a photographer. So, I think I'm going to sign off with myself and Warren. Great session. Thanks, Conrad and Chubby One. I think that's your nickname, is it not?
Yes, yes,
Another
yes,
nickname.
yes. He
Mm,
actually gave me that name,
okay.
that nickname. Yeah, but I'm gonna lose weight soon, Warren. I'm gonna lose weight soon. Next year, Jen, I'll be lean and mean.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah,
it's a
thank
good
you for
friend. You
having
know,
me, Conrad.
the good friends often give you the nicknames you don't want. All right, yeah. But thank you for joining. It was pleasant. I don't know if you have any shout outs or if you want to sign off saying something.
Um, Yo, shout outs. Nah, well, I guess shout outs to my team. Shout out to everybody else watching. Partner at home, my kids, I guess, family. What else? What else? The people that taught me what I know right now. I'd say Nico, Marv, Ben, Sbuda, Constance as well. I'd count her in Constance because she's introduced me to those people. So there's yeah. I really owe those people a lot in terms of what I learned from them.
All right, perfect. All right, so if you want to follow Thabang, I dropped his links in the comment section, so to his Facebook and Instagram. Do follow Thabang and
Yes,
continue
yes.
observing and enjoying his life's journey. All right, so that's it from my side. Thank
Oh
you
yeah,
for everybody
hold
joining.
on, hold on. Before, hopefully
Yeah.
she's watching or she'll be watching later. Zintle Masango, shout out to you as well. You introduced me into fitness photography and other stuff on the side that I don't actually post as well, because you know how it is. You gotta keep something to yourself. So yeah, she really helped me a lot in terms of growing my photography. Thank you. And
All
yes,
right.
bye. I'm done.
All right, so if you have joined us in a later half or just now, this video will go directly to YouTube, so it's going to stay there forever. So it's advice to you, Thabang, as well. If you want people to watch this video, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can
Okay, cool.
send the link to
Thanks.
people afterwards.
I'll share it with some of the people.
Perfect. Love and light. Thank you for the awesome episode. Learned a lot as usual. Thank you, gentlemen. So I think that's going to be us. Thank you for joining. Good night. And again, thank you, Thabang, and your audience watching tonight. So,
Thank you very
cheers.
much. Peace
Bye-bye.
out.
Ending broad right now.